we are back in paradise. Last video you saw, Sampit's here. Last video you saw, we finished up the post for the Sala. Today we got a delivery of steel. Right now it's about noon and it's a little over 90 degrees or 33 degrees Celsius. What's that? 40 degrees Celsius. 40? No, it isn't. It feels 40 because it's freaking so humid out here. Yeah. But anyhow, so you saw us get the post done. You didn't get to see us finish up the concrete work, but nothing exciting about that, just a lot of manual labor. It's hot, it's humid, but today shouldn't be a lot of manual labor, so we're going to try to get these upright posts pretty much installed today. And then I'm going to prep the frame for the floor. Once I get it all ready, then we will have somebody come out and weld it. We're just going to have Gat to come out and do the welding for me. I'll just prep everything, have a welding stage ready so you can just come out, weld, and then leave. But we'll do that a couple times.
Go check your steel. Show steel.
Okay. I did buy a chop saw. Didn't want to do that, but I did. We've got 5 of the 2x4s, 5 of the 1.5x3s. 2x4s will be the upright posts and the frame around. And then the other ones will be the floor joists. So we're going to shut this camera off. It's hot out here. We're going to get started. So. So we got the 4 posts cut and numbered. So now we just need to stand the post on there, mark the bolt holes, drill the bolt holes, and the posts will be pretty much ready. It's hot. We brought an umbrella out and she's trying to hold it over me while I'm working, but we'll prevail. Okay, so we got all the posts cut. As I said, went ahead and drilled and bolted this one. Everything went well. Went to bolt this one and the bolts are too short. Come to find out, this is a 1/2 inch thicker on this one than on that one, or that one. But we got all the bolts to fit that one. So we finished drilling everything else. We're ready to go. We just got to go get some longer bolts. We went in, we got some longer bolts. We've got all 4 posts on there. As you can see, they're different levels because we're going to have a 50 centimeter drop from there to the front for runoff. The problem is going to be, as you can see here, these are flush. And when I put these posts in, I measured post to post, leave enough room for the floor that I wanted, the width of floor that I wanted in between them. But now, as you can see here, here, and here, this sticks out. Well, my first floor joist, whatever you want to call it, is going to hang right here at this mark. We've already set these levels. Got one here, there, there, and there. But my distance between this pole and that pole and that pole are going to be different. That's going to cause the joist running out over the water to be narrower at the front than at the back. So I'm going to have to compensate for that probably here somehow with some washers, or actually we're going to weld to this. So I'm probably going to have to put a spacer in there. I don't know. I'll figure something out, but we're done for today. It's 2:40 in the afternoon. It's probably 95 degrees out, I suppose. 35 on the thermometer in the truck the last I seen, so not even be close to 100, I don't know. But it's hot. Sampit's headed into town on a motorbike. I'm going to go get in a truck and we're going to get out of here.
Good morning, my friend and everybody. Welcome to Paradise in Thailand.
There's a whole school of fish there.
Oh, they're coming.
You see them?
Yeah. They heard the noise.
There's another group there.
They heard the noise and they start.
Look at that one. Look at it over there.
Draw far away in the middle. Ooh.
Oh, shoot.
Wow. Feed the food. Feed my food.
Is that a frog jump in? Okay, now that we got our priorities under control, I want to show you what our project is today. Okay, as we talked about in yesterday's video, the rain's knocked down the rice, but Sampit is telling me that the harvester will pick all that up. It's okay, so not uncommon, and we've seen that in other places.
My rice look beautiful than another. They not fall.
It's not yellow yet either. It's not
That's
turning
it not
yellow.
that high. That's why.
Yeah. Okay, so as I pointed out yesterday, we went through and found level where we want the floor of the Sala to be. And this was predetermined, just she picked a height that we both felt comfortable with. And we measured this, added up to the floor, and then added up to where the roof is going to be. That side's 50 centimeters taller, so we have a sloped roof. But we took the floor height, used the water level, got a mark there, mark here. And that's just to get us a ballpark. I want to cut some blocks because we're going to, like this is sitting on concrete, I want to weld some blocks under here to set these on to give it extra strength. But right now we're going to get our 4-meter lengths cut to get this extension done out here. So once we get the lengths cut, then we'll cut the little blocks for underneath. And right now, I think the plan is, rather than buying a welder, is I'll get all the material ready, bring a welder out here. We've got a couple people in town that weld and have welders. We'll just bring them out, have the welded up, and then we'll get some more pieces ready, weld some more. Okay, so I went to town and got some clamps so I can get this thing all leveled out and ready for the welder, phase 1. So what I've got is we came to our starting point, which has always been this post when we did all of our elevations. Basically clamped this on, clamped that on, got it set where we want it here, made sure this was level and square. Then we took out here, set the next block, made sure this beam was level. Then we went to this side, repeated the process, but took this beam, and as it turned out, I didn't have to make any adjustments. So you can see there it's level. So when I set those to the mark and made sure that everything was square and level on those blocks, set that one up there, it was perfectly level. So then I wanted to make sure it was level across the center like this. So I laid this beam across there, threw a level on it, up there and back here, perfect both sides. So then we had to make sure it was square from the front to the back. So we had to make sure it was the same distance out there as what it is here. Obviously, I can't get out there and measure that. To do that, I made sure these were snug out here. I slid these the same distance from here on the back on both sides as a starting point. And I just picked 4 centimeters at random because I just want a stub sticking off here. So once I did that, then I did a cross measurement to make sure it's square. So what I did is I went from here to here and did the same thing from here to that outside mark over there. Now I know those are perfectly in line because before I put these up here, I butted them together, flushed out the ends, and took a square and made all these lines across here for the floor joists. So I know those are perfectly in line. I just started adjusting, and it just turned out perfect that it was 2 centimeters out here and 2 centimeters out here, and everything is perfectly square and level right now. So all I got to do is bring the welder out here now, weld the blocks in place. Once we get the blocks in place, I'll set these back up here, the floor beams. I'll adjust them 4 centimeters out and 2 centimeters out. I'll throw the tape on them, make sure they're still square and level, make sure they're still level. And then we just weld those into place. Now it sucks that we're off here, but you know, it is what it is. Those posts screwed up most of that. Some of it was probably us putting the posts in, but as it is, I'm pleased with it because like I said, everything's square and level right now. So we just get these beams welded in place. Before we do that, I will take the measurement that I have here because I'm confident it's square. Measurement I have here, I'll cut that end beam, which is this one right here. We will pull that back. We will put caps on the ends of those, and then we'll weld that beam in up there. We'll slide it out, and we'll come back here, make sure everything's square and level, and we'll put the beam across the back the same way, right inside of here. And we'll cap the ends of it. But I won't put this back one on until I have the front one on and get it back in place and make sure everything's square and level again. Then we'll cut this beam, custom cut it to whatever length it needs to be to keep it square. Once we get that, I'll send the welder home. Then we will go through and we will measure mark to mark. These are centers for the floor joists. And remember, I had to have these at 1/2 meter intervals because of the length of the floorboards, because I got to be able to splice floorboards on these 1/2 meter marks. So once we get the full box made, we'll come through, we'll just measure mark to mark, cut them. We'll get them all and number them and get them all cut and numbered. Bring the welder back out. We'll weld all those in place. He can go home, and then we'll be ready to put the floorboards on. Once we get the floorboards on, then we'll work our way to the top. The top, pretty straightforward. I'll cut them to length. And I believe we're at 4 meters is where I'm at now with the width of the roof. So we'll cut 2 4 meter pieces. We'll pull them up to the top, make sure they're level and centered, front and back. And then we'll start building our roof around that. But that's a whole nother video. We'll do that when we get to it. So that's where we're at with the Sala and getting the floor in it. So with that, I'm just drenched with sweat. I've only been out here about 45 minutes, but you can see I'm just sweat everywhere. Once again, hot and humid. So I'm going to get out of here, but first I got a couple thin spots of rock out there on the road. I need to throw some rock on those. We had a storm come through last night, took this piece of metal, blew it off of there because it's not welded yet. That end hit the pond and it slid clear to the bottom of the pond. Went and bought 2 of these welding magnets, tied them on a string, threw them down there, couldn't get it. And they're cheap-ass, cheesy welding magnets. They won't hardly lift anything. Be surprised if they lift one of those. So the magnets weren't working, so Sumpit got down in there and reached around with her feet until she found it, but she couldn't get it pulled up out of there, so then I had to get in and get it pulled up out of there. But we did find it, and I wanted to recover this because it's got all the marks and everything on it already. But we're back to a go now. So the other thing we're going to do is put a 3rd wheel underneath this right here. I was hoping to put it right here, but I didn't realize it was washed out in the middle, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But I just want to set this up on this higher ground and then set a steel leg up to the cross piece here and then put concrete in here. That will just give it a little more support out there in where those ones are in that softer stuff. In case it ever decides to move, it will at least land on this, and this should hold it up. Found somebody that's willing to weld for us, but he's not available till Wednesday. So it's a 3-day delay. So I said, screw it, ordered a welder off Lazada, but it's not going to be here till tomorrow or the next day. So whatever gets here first, he gets here first, fine, we'll let him weld the first phase. If not, I got a welder coming, I'll weld it myself. And it looks like the rice crew is here getting ready to pick this field. Imagine they're going to get it out of there because it's all knocked down and it's probably going to rot under the water, so they want to get it picked up. So phase 2 of Sala in Thailand is finally done. And we had a several-day delay waiting on a welder guy. Got tired of waiting, went and bought a welder and just did it myself. But we got the floor in finally. It's all completed. Just finished this about 15 minutes ago. Steel structure under here is all done. Legs are all done. We did put a leg in the center of it just, as I said in the video the other day. We put a leg in the center of it just in case this gets too soft down here to support the weight or something. We got this up here on higher ground where it's a little drier and more solid. And I didn't mention in the video, but if you look down there and here, you can see black rock there. And I didn't see it in the video either, so that's why I'm going to mention it. We did pack a bunch of black rock down underneath those footings before we set them in there to help make sure they don't sink. But yeah, it's pretty solid. It doesn't move at all. So I think we're in good shape. We are getting ready to go into town to order the steel and the roofing material Right now, they'll deliver that this afternoon, and that will be phase 3. With that said, we're out of here. Thank you from Paradise in Thailand.